Today we're going to talk about boundaries and how to set boundaries during the holiday season so that we could have the best holidays that we've ever had before. So that could mean setting boundaries with our family, with our in-laws, with our friends, and anybody who we think just does not see the things that we need, and we want to be able to say the things that we need well, be able to be united while we do it, and hopefully it doesn't encroach and make marriage any harder. Did I summarize that well?
I think so. Yeah. So we are approaching Thanksgiving and Christmas when this podcast gets released. And this has been something that is a hard learned lesson in our marriage is that when planning for the holidays, we first need to look at what is best for our marriage, what is best for our kids, try to make a plan from there, communicate that well to other people. Trying to combine lives, trying to combine families. There's friends that want to do things. There's so many options. And just like, how do you go about navigating all of that so that you can enjoy the holidays, that you can celebrate the holidays, so that you and your family, like your nuclear family, can thrive and enjoy.
So we're going to go through 8 things that you can do. This is coming from the experts, not from us, though we have incorporated a lot of this into our own boundary setting. Number 1, when you set a boundary, we need to come at it united. We need to have a united front. It can't be just one of us setting the boundary and the other one being lackadaisical. This could even be with setting things with our kids. Mm-hmm. So they don't play one another. They don't play us against each other. So being able to have before the event or before we speak to an in-law or we speak to a friend, being on the same page. So being able to talk and be like, all right, this is the boundary that we're going to set. And both just having to have input on it so that we both own it.
Yeah. So I think one way that we've incorporated this in our family and our marriage is that I used to struggle with making plans without discussing with you first, kind of assuming that things would be fine with you, that we'd be able to work things out. It's kind of what we had talked about before. But one thing that we've learned that has really helped us is to thank the person for the invitation or the idea or whatever it might be and say, I'll get back to you on that, and go and chat with your spouse, present the idea, come up with, does it fit in what you hope for the holidays? Does it fit in your schedule? Does it fit in your capacity of like seeing other people? Is it aligned with what you hope for? And then from there, respond in the same way so that you guys have the same answer and you have the same way of approaching it when you're answering the invitation or for the future stuff that comes up.
Yeah, I think some people might take this as like you needing to ask permission of your spouse, and that's exactly what it's not. Because I know for myself, like even if people want to set plans for me or for the kids or for us as a family, I always say I'm going to check with my wife, and not as like a check for permission, but we are united in the decisions we make for our family, and that includes ourselves as individuals. So having a united front for all things allows for us to have a united front when setting boundaries as well.
Yeah, and I'd highly recommend that even if you think you know what the spouse is going to say, and even if they end up most of the time saying it, you should still do this anyway, because there might be something that you're not considering that they have on their radar, that's why you married the person, so that you're not just your own thing, so that you can check in with each other and just make sure that you're all on the same page.
Number 2, and this comes from the Gottman Institute. This is from Dr. John Gottman, which we have brought up many times in the podcast. Number 2, protect the marriage as the primary. So all feelings and everyone else aside, they come secondary to your spouse. And that can be really that's a hard pill to swallow when you're a newlywed, because suddenly it's a hard pill to swallow for you, and it's a hard pill to swallow for your families, because they suddenly think that, oh, you married into our family, now you're part of our family. And the reality is like, no, you have a new family. You created something new, and that comes first now.
Yes. So this actually, what expert is saying this?
I don't know. Okay. I forgot to put it on the slide, but it's an expert. It's not just me.
An expert says it, but also
Jesus, God said it.
That's true. Leave and cleave. But we actually also got this advice as an engaged couple from one of our groomsmen, and he sat us down. He was older, had been married, and he sat us down and he put his fingers together. Like, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my gesture, but fingers were together, and he said,
if you're not watching on YouTube, you should Go to YouTube.
There you go. But he put his fingers together and he said, the two of you are going to become this when you get married, and nothing should penetrate or it like should break that apart, and everything else is around it. And he started kind of doing orbits with his other hand around it. And so your extended family, your siblings and your parents, they're certainly like closer to this. And then coworkers and friends have a wider periphery. But at the end of the day, it's you and your spouse that have created a new family, and that has to be the priority. So checking in with one another again, like going back to number one, but making sure that at the end of that discussion, you have prioritized your spouse, not your mom's feelings, not your siblings' feelings. That could be secondary. They are not in the consideration, but you have to prioritize how your spouse feels, how you want your marriage, how you want your family to proceed, and traditions, and what you want them to get out of holiday celebrations. Like, what is the root mission here in this celebration? And then respond from there.
And while you're doing that, avoid triangulation, meaning don't make it like avoid having to have the other spouse speak with your parents. So like you're setting a boundary as a family, but you speak to your parents and your siblings about the boundary, and then they do the same thing for them, because that way then it becomes, then they'll end up playing off one another, and then it seems like we're not united, and there's a lot less emotions involved if it's not me speaking to in-laws or Monica speaking to in-laws, but it's just like me to my parents, Monica to her parents, and same for you guys. A lot less emotions, still a lot of emotions, just
sure.
less emotions,
Yeah.
and being able to stay united and no one is playing off each other and feeling like you're taking anybody away. Like we are united and we are
and that
family.
You are part of the decision. It's not the spouse who's not communicating that's making the decision. Renzo doesn't want to do this year, or Renzo doesn't think this is a good idea. And
both accurate statements. I don't want to do the thing. Whatever the thing is, don't want to do. Doesn't have to be holidays. I don't want to do it.
Just don't want to do it. But you don't want to pin people against one another. You, as a family, have made a decision, and then you are the one communicating back to your family of origin, because you kind of understand how you've communicated and your culture that you've come from, and you understand best like the when and the how. And that doesn't mean that it'll go smoothly. That doesn't mean that no one's feelings will be hurt. But at least it's done in a gentler manner and like as best possible. Best case scenario.
Number 3, set clear time boundaries during the holidays. This was something that we did not do until much later.
Yes.
Because like we would get good at setting certain boundaries of expectations of like, we're going to be able to do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rolled around and we're like, we're still here. What happened?
Yes.
And we did it. There was no escape plan. There was just no there was just no way of making sure that we were, because like it's a tricky thing, because you could set a boundary about whatever you fill in the blank with your holiday, whatever the holiday is, whatever the thing is, the event is, and you get there and for the first 2-3 hours, like, oh, things are great, and you're just like, you know what? Let's push it. Maybe everything's going to be great. It's not. It's not going to. Eventually, things will be like, oh, this is why we set the boundary in the first place. But you forget, and I think having a clear time boundary helps old you remind new you or future you that there's a reason why you set these boundaries in the first place.
Yes. It's the magic of the holidays.
Yes. Everything's great.
But I think that's also really important for having that, because you're going to use your past experiences to kind of help guide these boundaries. So you're not just like making them up willy-nilly, but you're kind of like, what was the sweet spot, and when did it start to kind of go downhill? And we have found that if we stick to this plan more often than not, we end up being able to leave and be like, that was a great. Nice visit. Mm-hmm. And everyone else also feels like that was a nice visit. Maybe they wish that you had stayed longer, but it was a nice visit. Mm-hmm. And so highly recommend this, and like being really clear with one another where like the limits are, and then expressing that to the family, maybe even setting like a buffer of like 30 minutes or so that like you can allow the goodbyes to take their time, or what have you. Let the
one that talks a lot start saying goodbye.
That would be me. It allows for the mother-in-law to go grab the things from the closet that she's been meaning to give you and explain to you why she wants to give them to you, all that good stuff. And then one thing I did want to add with setting clear time boundaries is something we've discovered is also getting a better understanding of when food is happening.
Oh, yes.
Because we're, at least in our experience, we're the first ones with the grandchildren, nieces and nephews.
Wait.
Okay.
This is very important if you are a newlywed or if you newly have young kids.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone forgot what it's like to have kids.
Yes.
Everyone will have amnesia. It'll be like the Men in Black. They got the flashlight pen thing done, and they just don't remember.
Yes.
Suddenly Suddenly nap time never existed for them. Apparently you never nap because your kids, you got to do things around nap time, and you're so inconvenient because of that.
Bedtime.
They have to go to bed early. They can't have too much sugar. That's ridiculous. Like all those things that you do for your kid, your baby or your toddler, apparently they never did for you.
Yeah.
So you can seem like an inconvenience. So this is an important part of like the setting clear boundaries for time.
Yes.
Because you might say, and you have to be comfortable saying like, we have to leave because this baby's bedtime is this. And if they don't go to bed at this time, they're going to be terrible for the next 3 days. I remember that. I remember like something would throw the kid off and then suddenly like they're done for the next 4 days. Yeah. Our lives are awful.
Yeah.
And no one remembered that. And they're like, you just need to be,
flexible.
you need to set better, whatever.
My point, though, is to ask clearly when food will be served, because we have learned that when you've been a group of adults or young adults, teenagers to adults for an extended period of time, like food timing isn't all that important. But if you have a toddler who is hungry, they become hangry. And then they almost like get sick because they're so or they go wild or they're crabby or whatever. So also just setting the expectation of like, when do you plan on serving food? So that one, they get the hint of like, this is important to plan.
And clarify between food and snacks.
Okay, true. And if they don't have an answer, then don't feel bad about coming with your own food for your kid so that they don't turn into a gremlin. Or maybe even your husband, who may also become a gremlin if food is not put in his mouth. So it's okay to like ask those clarifying questions, and depending on your relationship, you can ask for certain times, but maybe if they don't have a time, at least you yourself and your own family can plan accordingly. This is 4.
Number 4, create a couple only ritual. So something that you do to reconnect or to connect before and post the thing, because again, and we say this in jest, but like it can be stressful to do things that are outside of your regular routine and incorporate other people. Because again, this is not just family; this could also be friends, friends you haven't seen for a long time, like just things that are stretching you beyond what you guys usually do as a family. And setting boundaries is stressful, and it can make you tired and cranky and just not kind to the people around you afterwards. So finding ways that you could reconnect with your spouse before, or connect with your spouse before you go do these hard things, and then after, to remember like that we picked this is okay, we're safe now. You're safe now. Things are okay. Does it have to happen for another year?
Yeah. I think it's also important. I know that I think the common theme is that in-laws and extended family can be challenging. Sometimes you have wonderful, wonderful family traditions and everything goes great. I would love to sit down and talk with you so that we can try to implement that when we have our children or adults to learn how to do it. But even if everything goes so beautifully with extended family, there is something that has stretched you outside of your marriage in that sense. And so I think it's really important during the holidays is that like the holidays are not just for other people, but you and I are still the priority. And you and I still had a good Christmas. You and I still had a good Thanksgiving. Like we had a moment of like us in all of it. So whether this is hyper stressful or beautiful and wonderful with all of the things, trying to carve out time for just the two of you to have reconnection in all of that chaos, I think is really important, because you don't want to lose that in all of your celebrating and wonderfulness of like, that was great. Where were you the whole time? How was your holiday? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I think it's really important to make sure that you have that. Maybe it's like eating pumpkin pie in bed after Thanksgiving, or like whatever it could be.
That's very specific.
That's what I would like to start
It's a very specific thing we have not done before.
Usually we have a debriefing in the car. We turn the music up really loud in the back. We turn up the Christmas music, and then we talk about it on the drive home from wherever we're going.
We've been married 13 years, so we've had
That's
very
what
different.
We do.
No. Well, we've been married 13 years, so we've had very different holidays through the season of marriage.
through all the marriages,
through all the years of marriage.
Yes.
Number 5, have boundary scripts ready. This is important. This is very important when you are like Monica, who's an internal processor who did not grow up on the streets being able to battle rap at any second and can't just think of things quickly. Didn't grow up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway and loving improv. If you didn't grow up like that and you just can't come up with things to say on the spot, or in the Hispanic family who just blurts everything out.
My face just turns red and I'm like,
And one thing we found, like if Monica's able to know this is the boundary, this is what I'm going to say when this comes up, and then if they respond, this is how I'm going to respond. It just takes so much stress off of you, and like suddenly you're able to.
I actually write this down and I check it before I walk in the door.
Yes, she's great.
I really do, because stress makes me forget everything.
So like simple things like I have written here, like we're not discussing politics today, and listen, I understand for some of you that seems like, oh my goodness, how could I say that to them? Like that just seems rude. Maybe I'll just walk out. Maybe like no, you could just say that, and if people are hurt, they're hurt. I don't know. They have to. Also, if you have a different personality, who cares? Also, like, please don't comment on our parenting. I have no problem saying that to my parents.
This slide is not for you.
No. Then I also follow up with, your parenting wasn't that great either. So
that is.
And
I've seen that happen.
And then things are fine. They still love me.
They do. They do.
They owe me.
Sometimes. Culture, understanding that you come from 2 different cultures is very key to understanding how to navigate the holidays. It took us about
13 years.
It's about 13 years. I'm not nervous about this Christmas. It'll be fine. It's still far away. So, but yeah, so if you are more like me, who cannot just like say the things that you think in your head out loud to people because you're worried about how they feel, or you actually can't hear your own thoughts because you're so busy being nervous, write them down. What are the common things that you think come up pretty frequently? What are the things that you've responded to poorly in the past? And how can I be better this year? And I don't know what expert you researched from, but this is something that came from my therapist. So he probably learned it from somewhere, but so this is actually something I learned in therapy, have implemented, and have found it work very, very well.
Yeah, so. You should see Monica's list when she walks in. No. That's what.
Yes.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Maybe next time.
No, thank you. It's a good one, though. No, thank you. Moving on. Number 6.
Number 6, protect parenting boundaries. Ooh. So we talked about this earlier. Are
you excited about this?
No, this is just interesting. No, so this is similar to what we were saying earlier about like everyone forgets of what it's like having kids. If you were a new parent, or even if like you've had kids that are now so for example, for us, like we have an 11-year-old going to be 12 and we don't do screens for them. We don't do like phones that have social media or anything like that. So like protecting the parenting boundaries during the holidays means that like the things that are the expectation during the regular time of life doesn't change just because you're now with a relative who you haven't seen in a while, or a friend who's like, oh yeah, like, you know, I haven't seen your kid in a while and I want to show them these things. Like, no, we don't do screens. I want to show them this video about this soccer thing. Like, okay, sorry, we don't do social media for them. So the answer is no. And getting used to setting those boundaries and protecting that, I think, is super important. So again, from a toddler all the way to a teenager, if you have certain boundaries that you have, and this could be around like something silly, like not silly. This is not silly. What I'm about to say is not silly. I think it's silly to get scared about saying this, but like if you're like, we don't want our kid, like we don't want people drinking too much alcohol on our kid. Everybody feels differently about that. If that's one of your boundaries, like you shouldn't be afraid to say that. Like we don't drink in front of our kid. Can you please not drink until we leave? We're going to leave in an hour. I don't know. Whatever it could be, I think being willing to stick to those parenting boundaries, even if you make others uncomfortable. I think your kid's safety is more important than other people's feelings.
Yes. And I think one of the things that you have is we're sticking to our routine, and we kind of talked about toddlers and little ones with their nap and their bedtime and things like that. If, going back to recommendation number 1, you've agreed that the schedule goes out the window because you're like, we only see these people once a year and we'll take the hit on, that's fine too. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not saying how you should parent, but you should be on the same page when it comes to the boundaries that you're setting for the holidays. So if you're willing to be flexible, we certainly are now that our kids are a bit older. we stay up later, and they eat more sweets during holidays and blah blah blah. But we have our expectations that we walk in the door with, and then like that's our responsibility to stick to that. And it's not other people's responsibility to parent our kids, but it is our responsibility to let them know how we're parenting them if they are infringing on that. And so I think that is really key. And sometimes that might be worth a check-in ahead of time of like, hey,
we didn't do check-in here, right? No, that's the next one, I think.
Oh,
keep going.
Sorry. I meant ahead of time, like to prepare ahead of time is like, hey, like where, like which event are we stretching the bedtime, and which one is like, no, that we're going to nap ahead of time and maybe we'll go late, or things like that. So like setting the expectations ahead of time, and including parenting in that. Talk to your kids the same way that you talk to them in front of other adults. Like be consistent for them, because otherwise it can be very confusing for them if, let's say, like the screen rule gets fudged in holiday situations, then they start to like not understand why it's important.
And again, this is Renzo encouraging you,
empowering you.
I'm trying to. If you have a boundary that you feel like you have to fudge on because you just don't want to deal with your whomever, I really encourage you to set that boundary, because like that person should not dictate how you are parenting just because they're a pain in the butt. You should be willing to like just stick with it, because it's better for your kid and better for your family if you do it. That's it.
I like that. And there's a reason why you made this this parenting decision in the first place. Mm-hmm. So you can do it.
This is a good one. Number 7, decide tolerable behaviors versus exit behaviors. So like what things that we're like, all right, this is going to come up and it's okay if this gets here.
My throat feels tight.
But
it's thinking about this.
But we've done this before. I mean, like if this happens, well, mostly it was like, if this happens, I'm taking everybody out. Yeah. I'm picking all of you up. I'll pick you up. We're all leaving. Yeah. Because having that in mind and talking about it beforehand will make it easier if you get to that point. And it doesn't have to be a big violent exit like Renzo thinks it is. It could simply be like when you can notice if the conversation is trending in a direction, you just start packing some things up and putting it ready by the door. And that's not anything big, just getting ready. And if it gets to that point, we're like, all right, we're going to head out. You know, so-and-so doesn't feel well, whatever. You don't make it a big deal. But just having that in mind earlier, yes, and setting that together earlier, being united in that, makes it easier for that moment.
Yes. So kind of going back, you had given an example of like drinking at these celebrations and things like that. For us, like it's not that you can't drink alcohol around our kids personally. You might have different boundaries, but
only if you did a Murph first. I'm kidding.
But if somebody were to get
inside joke for inside friends.
If someone gets belligerent, if a certain person in the family starts drinking and you know that they don't tolerate their alcohol well or whatever, like that could be the like, okay, we see the signs, start getting ready, give the look to one another like, okay, we're getting there. You know, we're both aware and we're both ready, and you are allowed to leave situations that are uncomfortable, imprudent, unsafe.
Again, without making a big deal of it, you could just leave, and that's okay.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to head out. Merry Christmas. That's it.
That's it. Ooh, I like this one. All right, number 8.
I think you like all of them.
So one thing I just realized that I definitely did 10 instead of 8.
Okay, great.
So number 8, there's 2 more. There's special ones at the end.
Bonus.
Divide responsibilities intentionally. I love this, and we do this really well. You got bingo, bango, bongo, and you have the other, right? We just divide the kids.
I think you need to, okay.
No, the kids. The kids.
Like, when have I ever gotten bongo?
Phase 3. No, I think...
No holiday celebrating happening, son. We're just staying home. My face is so red.
Only bongo. So what I meant was the kids. Like you have these kids and these things that they do and need help with. Like, for example, we have one kid who wanders a lot. So we're like, all right, you got our wanderer.
You're on them today. Yeah.
Like
for this stretch of time.
Yep. And like we just make sure like we're aware of who our kids are, what the boundaries are with each kid, with ourselves. And like we do divvy up the thing because like 5 of them is a lot to have to manage.
Yeah. So it's even like, all right, I've got making the plates. You just get them to the table, right?
Yes.
Or you make sure that they go to the bathroom before we leave. I'll grab the coats and stuff, and just kind of like set that ahead of time so that you don't have a tiff or you don't have a miscommunication in front of a crowd of people. Because again, if you're like Renzo, you don't care. You're just like, no, I've got the shoes. But then Monica feels embarrassed. So if you have that planned ahead of time, um, and like now it's just kind of natural. But like if you kind of
Bango, bango, bongo.
that's it.
That's it. Well, you have
now,
this one.
Now I know. But if you plan that ahead of time, it just makes things smoother and it decreases the opportunities for conflict in this situation. I'm trying to think of more that, like, let's say you don't have kids.
Too bad. Just set boundaries. Number 9. This is it. This is the one. Number 9, mid-event check-ins. We did not do this well until halfway through. Well, I mean, not halfway. Like, we're not done with marriage. But, like, 5-6 years in.
Halfway of current status.
Because we would set boundaries, and, like, we would also overstay a lot of times. But, like, the overstay would come because we didn't set the clear time boundary beforehand, but also because we didn't check in with, like, are we good? And this comes in with, like, multiple things. Monica will know what I'm referring to, but, like, you won't. Because it could be in a lot of different types.
This is great for a podcast. We know what we're saying. You just...
No, but the advice still holds. Because it doesn't have to be just like boundaries with I'm having difficulty with this setting that we're in and these people and what we're talking about. But it could also just be like the way these people are is exhausting to me, and I'm doing everything to be present and happy and we're good. But like maybe I did say we're gonna leave in 3 hours, but like if you do a mid-event check-in, like, hey, are you still good? That helps. She might be like, I just need a little coffee and I'll be able to manage. But the mid-event check-in really changes so that you don't end up the other person feeling resentful that like, oh, we're overstaying or like this is too much for me and you're not noticing. You're so invested because you're having a good time, but I'm not. Mm-hmm. Like being able to have a mid-event check-in, we're just like, hey, are you still good? Am I still good? Okay, we're not overwhelmed by everything. I think multiple check-ins throughout the event is better than just one mid-event, but like at least do it halfway through.
It can even be a little check-in of like, hey, how are we managing the kids? Like, do you feel like you've been on kid duty too long? And like, could I take over for a bit?
I don't mind being honest. There are times when Monica falls asleep on the couch in my loud Hispanic home. And I'm just like, yeah, that's her mid-event check-in. I'm like, are you okay?
I'm taking
because it's very different. It's very loud. It's actually very similar to our house right now. Yes. But it's very loud and she doesn't understand the language that's being spoken.
No. There's a lot happening, and
a lot of jokes and a lot of swear words being thrown around in a different.
Couldn't tell you which one was a swear word and which was not.
So like I know that's overwhelming because the decibel is just significantly higher than normal. So I used to not check in with Monica and just find her asleep. She's like, I guess she had a good time. But so it's better to like, hey, are you good?
Yeah.
Do you need to go? Like, want me to take the party somewhere else?
That's a really intimate check-in.
No. What? Not like the bongo party. Like take the loud people to move them somewhere else.
No, I'll just find a different place to sleep. It's fine.
No, you become Thomas and you just sleep on the couch.
So you don't need to move them. I'm fine. This is great. No, but it's good. It is. It's good to just check in, and I think that goes back to the point too about prioritizing your spouse over everyone else, and it's just like it's a little moment of intimacy as well, like within the event, because maybe you have spent very little time together, and you just like you come over with a cup of coffee, and you're like, hey, how's it going? Or you both change a diaper together, so you can do like. Oh, I'm gonna go.
Always intimate for me.
Always intimate. These are scripts that you can use if you're not sure how to go check in with your spouse. But like, hey, I'm gonna go help them with the diaper change. I'm gonna grab something from the car with whatever, like with Monica, and like, there's different ways to kind of excuse yourself for a moment, and just do a little check in.
And the last one, number 10. Oh, build transition time. Decompress before and after the event. We talked about that before. Pre-talk, align expectations, and post-talk, do a gentle debrief. We just do it all in the car. We rant and scream and yell. But the transition time of We don't
I'm
scrape.
shaking my head.
We don't do
There's
any of
no
that. We don't do any of that.
screaming.
No, but the transition time after the event, before you go to, all right, we're back to being a family. So like not just checking in with, like romantically checking in, like we still love each other, or we do, but just like debriefing. Like there's a
Yes.
transition time of debrief of like, how did that go as a team? All right, next time when we will do this. Okay, good. We pack it away for later, and now we're able to transition to like, all right, now we're at the next event, or we're home. Couch.
Couch. Yes. I think that the gentle debrief is important here. You put that on your slide. So
Because I always do it gently.
always. So
Continue.
But if you have a propensity for being blunt, you might want to take a deep breath before you jump into the debrief. Maybe let everyone get buckled first and have the car start moving before really get into it. But the debrief is absolutely important because you may like forget some of the things in the moment. And I think one thing that's important is to like identify if I'm talking about feelings here, I'm going to let you know I'm talking about feelings. Like I felt this way. I felt like label your feelings, but identify that. And then also identify if you're talking about something practical. Because sometimes when you put the two together, it can feel like an attack and then you get defensive and you're like, okay, this is how I felt. And maybe this is an example of when I felt that way in this situation, but to try not to mesh and to also, this was something that was very, very hard for me. I still struggle with it, is that like Renzo sharing things that were frustrating or hard or uncomfortable about my family or my friends in a situation does not mean that he's saying that about me, but like I attached that. Like you felt this way about this and they came with me. They're part of the baggage I brought. And so then I felt like that was a reflection on me. So to be careful to sift through that, and then to be careful not to articulate, like be careful of how you articulate.
And on the flip side, if your spouse is more like me and he's like, yeah, geez, my mom was annoying. It's okay to be like, yeah, she was. To not feel like,
no, she was wonderful.
Oh my goodness, the way she defended them. Black belt in defending anytime something annoying came up, she was like, no, that was great. Oh.
This is why your mother loves me, though.
Well, she loves one of us. So
true.
But building in the transition time helps a ton and makes, hopefully these 10 things will help the holidays be a little bit smoother this year. And if anything, you feel like you're not alone, because we are going through and I've gone through and we'll continue to go through all of these things and keep having to go back and forth and maybe make 10 more points for next year.
And don't feel bad that you have to redo this every holiday season, because your family is different. Your kids are older. Things happen throughout the year. Like these are not strict. You don't have to stick to this every single year. You can adjust based on who you're going to see, what's happening, who you are, and where you're at.
Yep. So did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a review. Those of you that have been listening to that, thank you so much. The reviews are going up just in quantity because you guys are responding.
That's a rating.
Yeah, rating. Sorry. Leave a rating.
Reviews are nice. You leave comments.
Follow us on Instagram at To Become Family. I'm going to hopefully take some of this from today and make it into reels.
Okay.
So people can see more of our faces there talking. But yeah. Thank you guys, and we will see you at the next episode.